Steven Spielberg just made the worst film of his entire career. Jaws, Raiders, E.T., Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan. That guy, the bloke who invented the modern blockbuster, has just delivered a film so blindingly, eye-meltingly bad that 20 minutes in, I really thought, I need to sprint out of here and go buy some sunnies just to survive the bloody lens flares. Now, Disclosure Day promised Close Encounters. It promised E.T. What it delivered is a 2.5-hour turd burger with a $115 million budget and an ending so insulting it actually broke my brain. G'day, viewers, and welcome to the Hollywood Menace. Now, for me, viewers, Spielberg was the gold standard for decades, the benchmark every other filmmaker got measured against. And yes, the man's had clunkers, Hook, Crystal Skull, AI, The Post, and The Fabelmans. Every legend shanks a few off the tee, but this might be the worst of the lot. And that's not me being dramatic for the algorithm. That's me having sat through a convoluted mess I really did not recognize as a Steven Spielberg film. And in fact, the sheer volume of lens flare in this thing had me absolutely convinced J.J. Abrams snuck on the set, locked Steven in his trailer, and directed the whole bloody movie himself. It is comically, ridiculously over the top. Every frame looks like it was shot inside a bloody disco ball. So before we get into it, I need you to understand what's coming in this video. An Oscar nominee is walking around in circles on a phone for what feels like 40 minutes. Emily Blunt auditioning for a Razzie. A villain who, at the climax of this film, gives up and then sits in a chair. North Korea binge-watching American local news, and an ending so insulting it can be quoted in one word. All right, but first the plot. Strap in, because I'm going to explain in 40 seconds what Spielberg couldn't in 2.5 hours. It's 2026. World War III is apparently imminent, and a cybersecurity bloke named Daniel nicks alien files from a shady government outfit called Wardex, files going all the way back to Roswell, then gets branded a foreign spy and hides out in a convent with his girlfriend because, sure, that's where I'd go too. Meanwhile, Emily Blunt is a Kansas City weather girl who gets psychic powers because, and I cannot stress this enough, a red bird flies into her house and looks at her. That's it. That's the origin story. One judgmental cardinal, and suddenly she's speaking fluent alien on live TV. We later find out that she and Daniel were abducted as kids. The random animals wandering throughout the film are actually aliens in disguise, doing surveillance as a duck presumably, and Colin Firth's evil CEO is hunting them with a telepathy gadget that looks like a dildo while they're trying to expose the whole cover-up on live TV. That's the movie. A weather forecast, a nosy bird, a dildo, and the fate of humanity. If that sounds like a fever dream, mate, I've experienced it. Now let's talk about how it's actually told. Because apparently, the world is on the brink of World War III in this film, but you'd never bloody know it. The global apocalypse gets less screen presence here than the catering truck. The big society is collapsing moment, I counted one ridiculous scene at a service station where a handful of extras wander back and forth, clutching bottled water and paper towels. Paper towels, mate. Seriously? The world's ending and we're worried about paper. No supermarkets in this universe, apparently. Just that one gas station. Civilization's last stand, the slushy machine. And here's the real kicker. That's not even the worst directing choice in this film. Wait till you see what they do to an Oscar nominee. Now, let's talk about performances because, wow, boy oh boy. Emily Blunt, normally rock solid. One of the good ones. Here, she might be clearing space on the mantelpiece for a Razzie. Honestly, so over the top, so ridiculous. And filmmakers, please stop forcing good British actors to do dodgy American accents. It strangles their performances and sounds like a cheese grater on the bloody ears. The script has her doing the most ridiculous things imaginable here, and honestly, I just kind of felt sorry for her. She deserved better. We all deserve better. Now let's talk about Coleman Domingo, Academy Award nominee. And Spielberg's master plan for this man is walking in circles on the phone, drowning in more lens flare and key lighting than a Daft Punk concert. And his big reveal after all that circular cardio? Somehow he and his team have built an exact replica of Emily Blunt's childhood home inside a fire station of all things without knowing anything about her until he meets her. How? Why? Don't know. Film doesn't know, and nobody knows. Nobody cares. Next on the hit list is Wyatt Russell, John Walker from Marvel, US agent. He rocks up for a few scenes looking like a bloke who wandered into the wrong wedding, then gets binned just as fast. You could see it in his eyes. Where's my spandex suit? I'm going back to Marvel. And then we got Colin Firth as the villain. Paper-thin motivations, zero menace, horribly miscast. And at the climax of the third act, he just gives up, sits in his chair. I shit you not. The big bad of a Spielberg epic resolves the central conflict by having a sit down. Riveting stuff. Now we've got Josh O'Connor as our lead. Invisible. A charisma-free zone. And he gets this immortal line as he drives a car through a house to save his girlfriend, whose name I never caught and never cared about. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Mate, the same thought I had myself. $18 for a ticket, $300 for a Coke Icy and a nacho, and that's the question of my life right now. Can I sue someone for time theft? Amblin? Steven Spielberg himself? Unbelievable. Now, viewers, this film does do one thing brilliantly. It ends, eventually. But before it does, Janusz Kaminski, legendary cinematographer who shot Schindler's List for crying out loud, here, every single frame looks like someone's flashing a torch directly into the lens while screaming at the top of their lungs, art, art. Unforgivable lighting, ridiculous camera work here. Did the man suffer retina damage mid-shoot? Genuine question, because, viewers, I think I did. All right, now we have to talk about the CGI quality in this film. The CGI animals here are pure uncanny valley. Now, remember, viewers, they're secretly aliens spying on you. They just appear, walk through walls, and read as real for exactly 0 seconds. There's also in this film a half-baked religious thread stapled in with dialogue that lands like I just dropped my meat pie. And poor John Williams, oh my goodness, dragged out of semi-retirement for this? The music's still beautiful, the man's incapable of writing a bad note, but it's disjointed, out of place, like even John was confused about what the hell was on screen. All right, now we're at Act 3. Finally, the payoff I promised you earlier. Brace yourself, viewers. The grand finale of this epic alien disclosure thriller is a power struggle. Literally, the choreographed Men in Black villain squad tries to stop Emily Blunt from spilling the alien beans by, wait for it, boys and girls, turning off the electricity at a small Kansas City news station. That's the plan. That's the climax, flicking the switch at the meter box. And then we get our barely an inconvenience moment in the film.
Barely an inconvenience.
When O'Connor's girlfriend, still don't know her name, don't care, who the film completely ditched 25 minutes earlier, just happens to rock up with the exact MacGuffin dildo needed at the exact moment the power goes out. Of course she does. Why wouldn't she? Screenwriting, boys and girls. Screenwriting. All right, now we come to the part that I teased you at the beginning of the video. The broadcast goes out, and the entire planet watches it instantly on their phones. Every human being on Earth simultaneously glued to a local Kansas City news affiliate. We get a glorious montage of the whole world stopping, tuning in, including, and I kid you not, North Korea. North Korea, mate. The average North Korean citizen can't watch a South Korean soap opera without risking a labor camp, but Channel 9 Kansas City, all good, crystal clear, full bars, 5-star reception, in downtown North Korea. Kim Jong-un's apparently handing out unlimited data plans so everyone can watch the Weather Girl's big scoop. Now, this transmission, this one broadcast, halts World War III, boys and girls. Global nuclear tensions solved by regional TV. The UN's been doing it wrong for 80 years, lads. Should have just called the Kansas City weather desk. And then finally they wheel out the alien, the big moment, Disclosure Day itself. The alien whispers sweet nothings into O'Connor's ear. O'Connor relays it to Emily Blunt. Emily turns to camera, the entire world watching on their phones, North Koreans included apparently, and then says, listen. Listen? That's the word? That's the one word I promised you at the start of this video. I sat through 2.5 hours for listen. That's not an ending. That's a podcast ad read. That's what my mum used to say before telling me off. My retinas are scorched, wallet emptied, and the alien's profound message to all of humanity is the same thing you would say to a dog before it sits. If you've ever been betrayed by a movie, smash the like button right now. That's the only therapy either of us is getting here. Look, from any normal filmmaker, maybe, this is forgivable. But from Steven Spielberg, nah, not on. This is a convoluted, lens-flared, badly acted, badly written mess I wouldn't recognize as his work in a police lineup. So, what's the rating, boys and girls? All right, no two ways about it. This is absolutely rotten, awful, terrible, horrible, diabolical. A full stay away. Don't watch it in theaters, on streaming. Don't watch it, period. The only place this film belongs is on stage at the Razzies, sweeping every category like Titanic did at the Oscars. And honestly, it just might. All right, here's a question for our viewers. What's your least favorite Steven Spielberg film? Pop it in the comments for me. If you've liked what you heard, please think about subscribing, give us a like. I do read all the comments, so I do appreciate you leaving them below. This is the Hollywood Menace. Thanks for stopping by and listening. Until next time, ta-ta and farewell.